They came upon the village only to find it completely deserted. In the distance, they heard a blood-curdling scream, followed by an unearthly light. What had happened to the people of Lake Anjikuni? Hi everyone, it's me. Number 10. The Vanishing Village. Imagine that you are a fur-trading prospector traveling through the Canadian wilderness in 1930. You have been journeying for weeks, moving deeper and deeper into the barren landscape. Then suddenly, in the distance, you see smoke rising from between the snow-covered trees. You feel a rush of relief because you've been freezing for days and you desperately need some shelter. As you get closer to the smoke, you start to see signs of civilization. There is a sled resting against a tree, and soon you can see a whole community of small wooden buildings. Just as you are about to breathe a sigh of relief and approach the nearest cabin, you notice something very strange. None of the cabins seem to have any inhabitants. All the doors are wide open. You walk inside one of them and find a fire burning brightly in the center of the room. Some furs hang on the wall and supplies are laid out on a table, but nobody is there. The fire has been burning for hours. You can tell by the logs that have already turned to ash. You begin to explore further, and before long, you find more signs of life, or rather the absence of life. A dog is lying on the ground, frozen in mid-leap, as if it was trying to jump up on a sled when it died. A child's sled is sitting in the snow as though waiting to be used, and an overturned lantern lies nearby. Everything seems normal, but there is not a single person anywhere, not one. Even stranger, there doesn't seem to be any sign that the people just picked up and left. They simply vanished. This strange mystery is known as the Vanishing of Lake Anjikuni. It was reported in various newspapers around the world in 1930 at first. The story seemed to come from a reliable source. Joe LaBelle, the man who supposedly stumbled across the lost village, was a veteran fur trader who had worked with the Hudson's Bay Company. He was also a journalist for the Montreal newspaper, Le Canada. So when he submitted his story to the paper, it was taken seriously. According to LaBelle, he was traveling with two other men in March of 1930 when they found the empty village. In his own words, they had seen tracks in the snow leading to the village. After following these tracks, they saw a sled with 3 pairs of moccasins beside it. Soon they started to hear the sounds of a woman and children at play. But when they got closer, they could hear nothing. Then they saw the village and realized it was uninhabited. Joe LaBelle wrote that the entire settlement was abandoned. Every dwelling was empty. Foodstuffs were scattered around, particularly in the direction of the door, as though the residents had fled in haste. They even found a half-eaten meal on a table with a teapot still steaming over it. Out in the snow, they found the body of a dog which had apparently been killed by a kick from a human foot and then covered with snow, as if its owner had tried to bury it. It didn't take long for the story to spread. In May of 1930, less than 2 months after LaBelle's initial report, the Danville Bee ran the following headline: "Whole village of Eskimos seemingly vanishes overnight. Trappers find homes empty and sled dogs dead." That same year, the Montreal Gazette printed a story based on LaBelle's discovery. It, too, explained that the people of Lake Anjikuni had vanished without a trace. Number 9. The Skeptics. Despite the fact that the story was widely circulated in newspapers around the world, today it is considered a hoax. This is because no one can find any evidence of its ever happening. There is no archaeological proof of the village itself, let alone its sudden disappearance. One of the first people to cast doubt on the story was Canadian author and folklorist Marius Barbeau. In 1931, Barbeau published an article titled Lek Michani Kianik, The Vanished Eskimo Village, in which he argued that LaBelle had lied about the entire event. According to Barbeau, not only was the location of the lost village disputed, but there was no record of it existing at all. This was especially strange since the village was said to be inhabited by Inuit people, who kept detailed records of their settlements. If such a large village as the one described by LaBelle really existed, there would have been some sort of record of it in oral tradition. But there isn't. Researchers believe that LaBelle either made the whole thing up or greatly exaggerated the truth. His story may have originated from a misunderstanding of Inuit culture, or perhaps he was trying to cover up some kind of crime. Either way, we may never know for sure. Number 8. The Legends. While modern historians have their doubts, many people still believe that the village of Lake Anjikuni actually did vanish. This is largely due to the fact that Joe Labrelle's original story was so compelling. He described finding a perfectly normal village with every day items strewn about as if the inhabitants had simply disappeared into thin air. Those who believe the story argue that the explanation for the missing people is supernatural. One theory is that a blizzard swept through the area, killing everyone in the village and burying their bodies under several feet of snow. However, this doesn't explain why the sled dogs were found dead in the streets, nor does it explain how the snow melted and refroze, leaving behind the scene exactly as Labrelle described it. Another bizarre theory is that the villagers encountered a lake of methane gas. This methane was said to have seeped out of the ground and poisoned the entire town. Some claim that the gas caused the villagers to hallucinate and run away from the settlement, while others say it simply killed them instantly. Still, this doesn't account for the dead dogs or the lack of any archaeological evidence. Some people also say that a UFO visited the village and abducted the locals. During the 1930s, there were numerous reports of mysterious airships floating around the country. These flying objects were seen all over North America and were the subject of widespread fascination and fear. It's possible that whatever crashed in Lake Anjikuni was some sort of extraterrestrial craft. However, there is absolutely no evidence to support this theory. It's also worth noting that this isn't the only Native American village that seemingly vanished without a trace. In the 16th century, the Spanish explorer Cabeza de Vaca landed near what is now the Gulf Coast of Texas and spent 5 years living among the local tribes. When he finally reached a Spanish settlement in 1540, he told the people there about the advanced civilizations he had seen along the way. However, when the conquistadors went to find these settlements, they couldn't find a single trace of them. Cabeza de Vaca's descriptions were so detailed that most historians agree he wasn't lying. Yet there is no archaeological evidence of the villages he described. Some say the settlements were destroyed by hurricanes, while others say the natives were wiped out by disease brought over by the Spaniards. 7. The search for answers. Today, researchers are still looking for answers. In 2011, an amateur filmmaker named Jared Isaacson set out to find the lost village. He traveled to the area where it was supposedly located and searched for signs of human habitation. While he didn't find anything concrete, he did discover a number of animal bones which were sent off for carbon dating. Unfortunately, the remains turned out to be much too old to have belonged to the people who vanished in 1930. It's possible that the village did exist, but its location is unknown, or its name has been mispronounced over time. Another possibility is that the people of Lake Onegaiman didn't leave the area, but rather relocated to a different settlement. Perhaps the most promising avenue of research is the oral histories of the Inuit people. Unfortunately, this is an untapped resource. As of yet, no one has interviewed modern Inuit scholars about the legend of the Vanishing Village. It's entirely possible that the people of Lake Onegaiman did exist, and that their story will eventually be uncovered. Whatever happened to the people of Lake Anjikuni, the mystery of their disappearance continues to fascinate people around the world. The story of the Vanishing Village shares similarities with other famous mysteries, like the Dyatlov Pass incident. In 1959, a group of 9 Russian hikers set out to climb Mount Otorten in northwest Russia. 2 days later, they were found dead at the bottom of a ravine. The hikers' tent had been cut open from the inside, and many of them had been severely injured, as if they had been beaten with a heavy object. While the official Soviet investigation blamed an avalanche, rumors persist that the group was the victim of a secret military experiment or even an alien attack, like the Dyatlov Pass incident. The mystery of the Vanishing Village has inspired dozens of books, documentaries, and TV shows. In 1978, a made-for-TV movie called The Legend of Lake Erie was released. It starred Michael Landon as Joe Labrelle and told his story of discovering the abandoned village. Do you think the people of Lake Anjikuni really vanished, or was it just a hoax? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.